Hello, this is Graham, your friendly neighbourhood artist, and welcome to the horror theme. You may know me through things like this. Uh, Another one. These, of course, were done many years ago, but I've not been idle. So something more recent would be this. And I've got an original piece of artwork here, a very new job, uh, which you can see is a rather busy piece of work. Anyway, I'm going to be talking all things horror with you on Wednesday, and quick plug, lovely book of work which I'll be talking about as well. So see you then. Bye.
Hello.
Hi Graham, it's Matthew. Welcome to the horror theme.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you very much. Are you okay then?
I'm good, thanks. Did you have the wrong number to start with?
No, I did have that number, that correct number, yeah. I did.
Oh, good.
I did. And how are you doing? Is everything okay? Yeah.
It's fine, thank you very much. Yeah.
Good. That's brilliant. So I thought I'd just go ahead and start asking you some questions, if that's okay.
That certainly is.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Graham. So did you enjoy drawing as a child?
I did, yes. I do remember drawing probably the age of about 2 or 3, I think probably. I do have vague memories. But yeah. Mum encouraged me.
Yeah.
My dad did technical drawing when he was younger, so I think that they were always sort of drawing instruments around and pencils, so all that stuff was available to me.
Excellent. And how did you get the job for Palace Pictures?
Just by turning up, really, to randomly show them my portfolio of work on the recommendation of somebody that was a friend of a friend, I guess, realistically. And, not really knowing much about them. They were a new company at that point anyway, so all I did know about them was they were connected to the Scala cinema.
Yeah. Excellent. And your favourite illustration that you did for them?
I don't particularly have one, I don't think, but I mean, there weren't a huge number of illustrations really that I did for Palace. I think that Freddy's Revenge probably is still one of the most powerful ones I did for them, and I still quite like Creepers as well.
Excellent. And how did you end up working for the Creative Partnership in Tartan Films?
Well, Creative Partnership, I think I had worked with, in fact, actually it goes back to Creepers, I think. I could be wrong there. I think when I was working on Creepers, I was doing a job for another client, and they sent round one of their designers to brief me for the job. And I happened to be, they actually saw me working on Creepers, and we were just talking about the film and working on film posters generally. In fact, actually, I can tell you what the poster was I was going to be doing for them. It was the stuff. So anyway, Mia Matson, her name, came round to see me, and with a copy of the VHS and a brief. And I made her watch the last 5 minutes of Creepers, which of course was a full version, which wasn't actually released then. But anyway, that was the first poster I did for Mia Matson, who then years later got in touch with me about doing some other freelance work, and she had just set up the design studio for Creative Partnership, who already existed, and they mostly worked in radio and TV spots for film promotion and stuff like that. I think they started doing stuff for the Radio Times originally, and I think they did things like Brentford Nylons, can you believe, stuff like that. But anyway, they began specialising in film work, and Mia was headhunted by them, and she remembered me, and so that's how I started working with Creative Partnership.
And did you enjoy working for them?
Yes, well, I still do. I still have some desk space with them. Of course, they're currently closed because of the pandemic. But yes, I still do bits and pieces for them. Mind Torn was a job I did for Creative Partnership. That's the most recent illustrated thing I did for them. But I do lots of help out with lots of sketches and things like that. Whilst I'm in the studio for them, and but yeah, Tartan Films and Tartan Video you mentioned earlier on. They really became a client after Palace Pictures went into administration, because I think that Tartan picked up a lot of the titles that Palace Pictures had at the time, and I actually had already met the woman who was working as a managing director at Tartan. I knew her through other companies that Creative Partnership had worked with, for instance, like Electric Pictures and people like that. A lot of, I'm trying to think what this company is now. There were a number of small independent labels anyway that Creative Partnership always worked with. And my friend Laura DeCasto had worked with a number of those people, and when she started working with Tartan Films, she put my name forward to perhaps work on Dean, which was the first film that Tartan had put money into, I think, as a producer. It didn't really kind of happen, but I did do some visuals and the like. But that was the beginning of my relationship with Tartan, which kind of really worked in tandem with the work I was doing with Creative Partnership. In fact, the offices were literally a short, a 2-minute stroll across the street from each other. So, working with them was quite an easy thing to do.
Excellent. And who's your biggest influence?
Oh my goodness. Well, there are different types of influence, of course. I mean, there are illustrators that I've admired. There are fine artists I've admired. There are musicians who've influenced my work, and filmmakers who've influenced the work. And I couldn't give you one particular name to be quite honest. But let's just say that my influences come from different places and through different media. So, there's music,
difficult to choose,
So many things.
Many influences. That's excellent. And your proudest moment ever as an artist?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just say probably producing my first book of work, I think, because really what that did was a chance for me to look back at my own career and involve a couple of people who have been part of that, who contributed to the book. People like Sam Raimi, who wrote a little piece for it. And the last book as well, likewise, getting Jeffrey Coombs to write something, Sarah Carloff, Victoria Price, all these kind of great names connected with horror, Dacre Stoker, great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker. So it's really nice to actually pull in all these people who have been kind of influencing all of what I've done, and just to get them involved and stuff. And that does make me very proud.
Absolutely. And do you have a favourite horror film?
Oh my goodness, another, each day I could be asked the same question and give a different answer. But, I think it's too hard for me to pinpoint one single film, because I do have a number of favourites. There's a sort of a roll of about the top 10, which kind of interchange according to the day and the mood. But probably up there are films like Lord of Illusions, for instance, the Clive Barker film. I've always really loved that, and Dawn of the Dead, of course. Has many things to commend it, and of course, I love all my old Hammer films. And they, again, some are better than others, and they all have their different types of merit, I suppose. But the Lost Continent is one I've always cited as being a particular favourite, because I just love the juxtaposition of images in it, the Spanish Inquisition and modern day setting, and terrible monsters. I mean, it's got everything you could ever want in a film.
Excellent. And your favourite horror related person that you've ever met?
Again, again, there are so many, and the people that are related to horror in different ways. So, for instance, I many years ago I met Greg Nicotero, who is still somebody I can speak to now, and actually I say for friends, and he actually stayed with a friend of mine in Tooting Bec, which is where I live now.
Oh wow.
Many years ago, because he was a guest at a festival, Splatterfest it was called.
Splatterfest,
held at the Scala Cinema. So he was just kicking on their floor, basically.
Oh wow.
With, I'm trying to think who he was with now. There was somebody else. In my head, it might be Mark Shostrom. It may not be.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think there were two guys. Anyway, and Greg was one. And but then of course, I've been lucky enough to meet, as I've said many years ago, I met Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
I've met Jeffrey Coombs a number of times.
Yeah.
We all seem to get on quite well. And Ken Forey, who I hugely admire.
Yeah.
And people who are writers, there are directors. I mean, Richard Stanley, of course, is somebody I've worked with many times, and it's just so brilliant to see him, coming back with such a great film, Colour Out of Space, and you just know he's got so much to give.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his films gave me a great opportunity to explore other areas of creative input in terms of storyboarding and getting a good understanding of how films are put together, and meeting some of the special effects people like Bob Keane at the time did the effects for Hardware, and he was working on Nightbreed at the time, and so it's just there are so many good moments I can refer to. And it's people's places and different things, So, I think I get on with everybody. So, I can't really identify just one particular person. Cause
there's a few people that you've enjoyed meeting. Then, yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's nobody I don't enjoy meeting, to be quite honest. And I like human beings.
Yeah. And you enjoy attending the conventions, like I've seen you a couple of times, and you've always been dead positive, and you've enjoyed being there.
The conventions are very important because not only for me as a horror fan, because I'm very much a punter myself.
Yeah, of course.
And I get super excited about meeting the guests.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else, and I am a complete fanboy, and but also it's good to meet people who will talk about the work that I do and give me the sort of feedback that I need, really.
Absolutely.
And you get a good idea of the stuff that you do, what works and what doesn't, and you learn to find out what your strengths are and how best to apply those strengths for future work as well. So it's a very important kind of a process for me to meet people, at conventions. And it's a shame that we've had to cancel a few this year for various reasons.
Yeah.
But we'll all be back with a vengeance, of course.
Absolutely, that's it. And do you have any funny stories at all?
Well, I'm sure I do, but one has to be respectful.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, of course.
But no, life is funny, and there are always funny stories, and I always feel a bit sort of wary about talking about other people because something I might find funny might just be a little bit embarrassing for other people. But I can tell you, for instance, the first time I ever met Robert England was at a party, and I was very, very drunk, and halfway through asking him a question, I sort of managed to pass out and slide down the wall, which is not a very good
oh my God.
But people are, I always warn people who are naturally funny anyway, though, and I like really dry humour as well, and I think sometimes it's hard to realise that people are being funny sometimes, and one such person would be Jeffrey Coombs, for instance, who I've already mentioned, because he's got a very, very dry sense of humour, and
oh really?
And he has he says everything with a straight face, and actually you don't always know that he might be joking. So
oh God!
You have to be very, feel that you're kind of treading on eggshells. Speaking, he's a man with a great sense of humour, very funny, and nothing embarrassing has happened there. So
oh, thank God.
All is okay.
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and thank you very much for joining me on the horror theme tonight.
Well, my pleasure as well, and anytime. I've got plenty to say, and you've got to shut me up. So.
And it's always a pleasure meeting you as well. Like I said, I've met you twice now at Weekend of the Dead, and I met you at Sheffield HorrorCon as well.
Of course, and hopefully I'll be seeing you again very shortly.
Hopefully. Well, thank you very much for joining me tonight, Graham.
Okay, Matthew. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
And you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.